For this question, given function equals to 2 minus z, 3 minus x. For the first question, find the domain and range of fx. So to find domain, our tips will be, domain we need to calculate on the function of DSLR for the function z, log, and rational. For range, we are referring to cursor. So this is a special function we need to work on to find out its domain and range. For fx, given here is a third function, so domain we need to calculate. For range also we need to calculate to see on how special is it and how will be the calculation. For the domain of the function, so for z, it will calculate under the z, which means 3 minus x. So within the z, it need to be greater equals to 0. So we find out what is your x, it will be your domain. So negative x greater equals to negative 3. X divide with your negative, you need to change sign. So x less than negative 3. X less than 3. So you can put your answer in inequality form, or you want to put in interval also can. So it will mean negative infinity up to 3 included, close bracket. Meanwhile, for range, in order to find range, so third function is our special case. How we going to do? We're going to close up. So we're going to close up this third function. You can see it is negative function. So means that we start from negative infinity up to the value of 2 included. Then for the question B, show that the function is one-to-one function by using algebraic approach. So by using algebraic approach means starting x will be substitute as x1 equals to fx2. For the left hand side, substitute x is x1. For the right hand side, substitute x as x2. So here will become 2 minus 3 minus x1. So 2 minus 3 minus x2. Then we're going to do our procedure, simplify one by one to find out what is your x1. So if your x1 equals to x2, only one answer means it will be one-to-one answer, one-to-one function. If your x1 have answer more than one, means this function is not one-to-one function. So simplify, how do you get this x1? Move your 2. When we move your 2 to the left hand side, 2 minus 2, it will be cancelled off. Then when we simplify our negative, simplify, it will become positive. Then when we want to simplify our third, move the third will become square. So square root and square can be simplified. Then 3 minus x1, move the 3 minus 3 will be 0. So lastly, simplify the negative. Therefore, we can notice that x1 only equals to x2, which means that we managed to show that this function is one-to-one. So write out your conclusion. Then for question C, determine F inverse and its domain. By doing F inverse, our concept is using composite method. So our composite method will be F inverse fx will equals to x. So or it will be more easier composite method when you want to find F inverse. So F inverse x equals to x. So this is our composite method. So substitute F inverse in the symbol of the function. and then substitute this f inverse into the function. So the term of x here in the function, the term of x here will be represented by f inverse. Therefore, it can give you 2 minus square root 3 minus, substitute the place of x as f inverse. Then we simplify to find out what is your f inverse. So simplify here one by one, move back the operation to the right hand side. So x minus 2 divided by negative 2 minus x square root becomes square. Then minus 3. Then simplify your negative. It will become negative. Then I rearrange here, negative x plus 2 square plus 3. So this is your f inverse. And what is the domain? Domain of f inverse, we're going to refer to the range of the function. So the range of the function, you can see it is equal to negative infinity up to 2. Then for the next question, hence means use the result that we have here. We're going to sketch our function, surd function and inverse function on the same axis. So when you want to sketch the graph of fx and inverse graph on the same axis, means we need reflection of y equals to x and label the graph completely. So here we have reminder. So look at the domain and range. We draw out the function. Then we do reflection in order to get inverse function fx, f inverse. So look at the domain here. Domain, it will indicate our graph going left hand side or right hand side. So negative infinity until 3 means from the 3 here, value go to the left hand side. Alright, go to the left hand side. Then for range, we will indicate your graph going up or down. So 2, you see negative infinity means your graph will going down. So your graph will going to left hand side and your graph will going to go down. In surd function, we have 4 shape going left and up, left and down. This one right up or right down. So for the first part, when we look at domain, we know that this is going to the left hand side because you can see negative infinity, 3 infinity. So going to left, which means that our basic graph is not this. Then by referring to the range here, 2 to negative infinity going down. So going down, it's not going up, it's not shoot up. So we draw out our x-axis, y-axis, and reflection. Line of reflection, y equals to x. So jot down, what is your starting point here? What's your x, y here? What's your starting point so that you can shoot to the left and going down? So x refer to your domain, which is 3. Y refer to your range, which is 2. 3, 2. So 3, 2. 2 suppose will not going up above reflection axis, so 2 just below, because here is 3, 3, here is 3, 2. So this is your graph shooting. So when you want to shooting to the left and going down, you can see your graph is undergo intersect with x-axis and y-axis. So we need to calculate what is your x-intercept and what is your y-intercept. When x-intercept means y equals to 0. So when y equals to 0, our function, we let it to be 0. Find out what is your x. So square root and square 4. x negative negative positive square for x is negative 1. Alright, so intercept will be here. Then how about the y-intercept? Y-intercept when x equals to 0, we find out what is your y. 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3. So when we press calculator, 2 minus 3, it gives us positive decimal, which is 0.26 something. 268. So make it 3 significant figure. So which means that it will be intersect here. So it will not intersect underneath here. They will intersect above x-axis. So y-intercept at here, x-intercept at here. So it will be shooting y, x. So label here negative 1 and here 0.268. And this is our original function. Then after that, we're going to refract. When we're doing refraction, so the point of 3, 2 will become 2, 3 here. Label, so 3 refract here, 2 refract down here. So this is the starting point. Here it will be the intercept on the refraction axis. So the 0.26 and touching here. So here will be negative 1. Here will be the intercept of 0.268. So this is our F inverse. So I make it the curve more nicely, more smooth going down. Alright, so intersection all happen at first quadrant. And then make sure you label all the axes and graph. So x-axis, y-axis, don't forget your origin, 0. X-intercept, y-intercept, your point, starting point, 2, 3, 3, 2. Alright, so we see what is important marks from the first questions. So for the first question, determine the domain. So domain 1 marks, range also 1 mark. So this one just basic knowledge. You don't have much calculation. So when you come to one-to-one function, we need the concept of substitute x1 equals to substitute x2 into the function, and we need to see your procedure because this is a question of show. You need to see your procedure, how you obtain x1 until you get x2, and don't forget to put your conclusions here. When we come to inverse function, alright, so for the inverse function, we need to see how you use composite method to find the intersection, to find the inverse of the function. So this is the first concept, or the first basic form you need to show us. And then the procedure to finding all F inverse come up to get to your inverse function answer. Then for the domain of F inverse, also reading from the range of functions. So this one just basic. We want to remind here, our syllabus up to date here is encourage students to find F inverse using composite function like this. So if you still using let F inverse x equals to y or Fy equals to x, so we are not encourage you to do this step anymore. Or some of the students, they don't write this step clearly, suddenly just write the function equals to x. So that one also need to be avoided for you to have a more procedure works here, more clear step in your working. So try to answer, or we recommend here, answer finding F inverse using composite idea, is not using this SPM idea. Alright, so continue. When we go to the graphing here, 3 marks. For the graphing, firstly, we want to see your graph on your function. This one correctly. So you'll be curved going to the left hand side and going down. Then we want to see your reflection happen to get F inverse. So reflection happen also need to be correct, where we can see this is your axis of reflection. So your touching on your axis of reflection, y equals to x will be here. So it cannot like touching other place. And then for last one mark is we want you to label everything. Your starting point is like 3 to reflect to 2, 3, then all these intersection correctly, then only we can give you the full marks. So if your curve going too down, means your shape is already out, it's not there. So when your reflection also not going there, so your intersection will happen here, it's not happen here. So it will be your graph will be not accurate anymore. So that's all for these questions.